Hi ma'am, good day. We are group 3 and we were talking about the chapter 3, which is the strength and weaknesses of the Filipino character. Together with my group mates, Miss Jumaya Bachansela, Hanalita Buada, and Miss Maria Teresa Arisgado. So now, the schools are really built to serve the society and everyone that's in it. One of the rules of school would really ensure the students are reformed, the students understand, and the students capable of addressing different social issues that they are facing. And one of the social issues they really have to address, they really have to resolve is the weaknesses of the Filipino character. We are Filipino and there are a lot of things we have to be proud of as a Filipinos. But whether we accept it or not, there are also tons of attitudes and values that are to be eliminated, discarded. That's why school is there for us to help us, rather to strengthen all these positive attitudes of Filipinos and to help us get away from the negative ones that we practice every day. So first, I will discuss the strength of the Filipino character. So first, the pakikipagkapwa-tao. So pakikipagkapwa-tao is a basic sense of justice and fairness, concern for others, ability to empathize with others, open to others and feel one with others, regards others with dignity and respect, deal with them as fellow human beings. So, sa pakikipagkapwa-tao is manifested in a basic sense of justice and fairness and in concern for others. So, that's why Filipinos are very good pagdating sa pakikipagsalamuha, like that. So, pakikipagsalamuha. We mingle from people from all walks of life and just very easy for us to empathize with others, like what I said earlier, and also to feel their suffering. And there are also a lot of time where we cannot bear the sufferings of other people. That is why just easy for us to extend our mutual assistance or help to all these people. As you can see the picture, and then tumutulong yung mga Filipino to those people who wants who needs help. And also because we cannot bear seeing them in suffering, right? And that is as well part of pakikipagkapwa-tao. So the second strength of the Filipino character was a family orientation. Family orientation, source of personal identity, emotional and material support, one's main commitment and responsibility, sense of family results in a feeling of belongingness and rootedness in a basic sense of security. So, there's a family orientation, and the concern is for family is manifested in the honor and respect given to parents and elders. And this respect and honor that we give to elders ay hindi lang limited so kung sino kung sino ang immediate family members natin, but everyone, basta matanda, kapitbahay, mapabata man sa'yo, basta Filipino, we tend to honor them and we tend to respect them, okay? And at the same time, it's just also very easy for us to sacrifice everything that we have for the sake of the family, to endure everything for the welfare of the family. And we always do a lot of things for our families to survive and for us to give the best to the family that we have. Kaya nga, the people would go abroad to work to give life, a better life. There are people who would really work or magtrabaho ng iba't ibang trabaho just for these people to give, to let the family survive. That's how we love our family. That's why our families are are considered to be our personal identities, and that they are sources of emotional and material support, even financial at time. Kaya nga sabi natin na even if other people would let go us, even if other people would leave us, so as long as the family is there, and then there is nothing we can do. So long as the family love us, so long as the member of this family they would are always with us, then we can never go wrong. That's how strong the love that we have our families, right? So the third strength Filipino character was a joy and humor. So Filipinos have a cheerful and fun-loving approach to life and its ups and downs. Laughing at the mess we are in is an important coping mechanism. Playful, sometimes disrespectful, we laugh at those we love and those we hate, and we make jokes about our good fortune and bad. So sa joy and humor, the Filipinos really are happy and light spirited. We are fun-loving. As I said earlier, we are cheerful and we have a different approach to the ups and downs of our lives and everything happening in our life. So talaga na, we always present a pleasant disposition. Minsan kahit na we are in the middle of a problem, a major challenge in life, we still laugh at it, right? May mga ibang Pilipino, ganun naman talaga, kahit na mahirap, dinadaan lang sa smile. And even if you are in the middle of the suffering, in the middle of the problem, diba, we still find reason to smile. Kahit na, as you can see in this picture, binabagyo na yung lugar nyo, binabaha na, kahit na marami pang pagsubok yung dumaan, kayang-kaya ng mga Pinoy yan. So, problems, so those natural calamities will not hinder as well not block us from smiling, diba? So, and we also share our misfortune in comic manner. We also tell our life problem in life stories in jokingly manner, na parang lahat na nangyayari sa buhay natin ay nakakatawa lang, ganun, nakaka-inspire, kahit na yung mga pangyayari naman talaga ay napakahirap na para sa atin. We always willing to give our genuine smile, our problem. Yun yung mga tatak Filipino, yung mga kaugalian natin. And this sense of joy and humor is manifested in the Filipinos' love for social and celebrations. And the fourth strength of the Filipino character was a flexibility, adaptability, and creativity. So we can adjust and to adapt circumstances in the surrounding environment, both physical and social. Adjust to whatever happens, even in unplanned or anticipated events. We possess a tolerance for ambiguity that enables us to remain unfazed by uncertainty or lack of information. So, flexibility, adaptability, and creativity na character ng mga Filipino is kanang, or sa Tagalog pa is kanang magaling makibagay, kumbaga ganun, magaling makisama, parang ganun. So, very evident in us Filipinos is our great capacity to adjust and to adapt to circumstances and any eventualities that come our way. So, it's just easy for us to adapt in a new environment. Bisan asa pa ka mo adto nga laing place, you just have to give yourself 1 month and it's just very easy, for you to adapt to a new environment, or even nakakakilala mo pa lang yung tao, it's very easy for you to talk to that person. Sometimes pumupunta tayo sa pamilihan, ganun, pati or karang merkado gani matuta, so bisag di ta kaila nya, makailan na lang nato sila kanang makig-istorya ta bisag wa ta kaila, mao nga ni nang kanang basta yung ato madali lang may character tayong ganun. So pati yung mga, di ba, pag atong merkado niya nakaka-istorya like me, so hindi naman talaga ako taga rito, so kanang dali ra gani kung makisama ing ana gani na pati even the language kanang nakuan sad nako, na adapt sad nako. And then so for example just sa merkado, so makikistorya ta nya, di ko kaila nya, pag after mga ilang seconds lang kailan ako sa iya pangan, nangutana nag-asa nagpuyo nga na gani. So kanang flexibility ganita sa about sa mga ganyang character. So Filipino, we are very flexible in adapting the new environment, as like what I said earlier, for example is myself na di man sad taga diri, but madagan ako yung nakaila, kahit na di ko kaila is kana ganing dali ra ko makig-istorya ana. And you know that in knowing even kakilala mo pa lang to that person, we're very creative and imaginative. They are resourceful. We tend to do something out of nothing, and we can create something out of what is provided to us, out of materials that we have in our own houses. But it's just very easy for us to live a well despite the environment, despite of atmosphere, despite of situation that we are into. That's why this trait, flexibility, adaptability, creativity will generate connectivity, innovations, and survival for some Filipinos, like that. So, on the fifth strength character of the Filipino was a hard work and industry. So, kini kanang kilala tayo ng mga Pilipino bilang masisipag. And then, hard work and industry, we have capacity for hard work given proper conditions to raise one's standard of living and to possess the essentials of a decent life for one's family. And also the result are productivity, entrepreneurship, and survival despite of poverty. So, kilala tayo dito dahil ang mga Pilipino is masisipag. So, hard work and industry, kita as Pilipino, lahat ginagawa natin. Lahat tinatrabaho natin. We have a lot of hassles. Meron kang yung ibang tao meron ng permanent na trabaho, pero meron pang other sideline like us as student kanang gilalim eskwela. But yung iba, yung napapansin ko sa mga classmate natin is kanang student na sila, di ba ilalim eskwela, and then yung iba is nag-online seller sila, yung iba nagbibenta ng mga pagkain sa room, di ba? Yan yung example na character as a Filipino. Nakikita natin yun, papansin yung ibang classmate nga natin nagbibenta ng mga pagkain, ganun. Kay syempre nga hard work para sa pamilya, para din maibigay mabili mo yung mga needs mo, ganyan. So, like me also, kanang hindi lang ako students, but I have my own business, sari-sari store, ngana, and then also, sometimes nagbebenta ako ng mga clothes, ganun. So, hindi lang ako students, may business din ako. So, maraming trabaho sa buhay para lang, because I have my hopes and dreams na matupad in the future, and also makahelp sa akong family and to my to my own family din sa future, of course. And then yun nga sinabi ko like what I said earlier, and this is ginagawa tong pagsisikap is for my family and for my own family in the future, rather, because they do not have dreams our own, but they have hopes and dreams to our family. For example, yung mga Filipinos na naga-abroad, 'di ba? Hindi lang isa yung mga tinatrabaho nila doon. Sometimes yung ibang mga Filipino doon is may mga sideline din silang tinatrabaho para maibigay yung needs and wants ng mga family nila, ganun. So, ganyan ka hard work ang mga Filipino, even na nasa abroad sila, is doble sipag pa rin ginagawa nila para sa pamilya. So, that's why hard work and industry would always be there as a Filipino. So, the sixth of the strength of the Filipino character was a faith and religiosity. So, Filipinos have deep faith in God. Our innate religiosity enables us to comprehend and genuinely accept reality in the context of God's will and plan. Religious expression is very tangible. So, dari kailasad ta sa as a Filipino is kanang maka-Diyos, right? So, kanang our life was always God-centered, and they are believers of our own God. Di man tayo lahat Catholics. We are in different sects and different religion. We may name or kaning God differently, but I think we are facing the same God and with different names. So kapag may problema tayo, we do not kahit na masaya tayo, we still pray. We still pray this, have deep faith in God, and we always hopeful that despite that the bad things that happen now, if we have God in lives, then always be safe, will be able to overcome all those problems, those obstacles that are in our way. I mean, and also kaning religiosity is also observed in daily life among the Filipinos. That's why in every activity that we have, if there is a program, we always start of the prayer. Even sa school, di ba, before tayo mag-start sa discussion, we always start to pray, and with the prayer at the sometimes we always have to thank God for all the blessings, and we also ask for forgiveness. And so kanang okay, parang our life is centered by God, at lahat na ginagawa natin are always following in God for us, 'di ba? Kahit na, yun nga, like what I said earlier, na kahit sa school, sa room natin, bago tayo mag-discuss, nagpe-pray tayo, 'di ba? Yung ibang subject na Catholic, yung mga professor natin is nagpe-pray tayo. So, tatak Pilipino din yan, yung ganyang character na faith and religiosity. So, lastly, the strength character of the Filipino was ability to survive. So, usasad ni sa mga strength character ng mga Filipino. So, Filipinos make do with what is available in the environment. It is manifested in the millions of Filipinos who bravely live through the hardest economic and social circumstances. So, as you can see sa picture, makikita mo yung mga Filipino na kahit na nandun na sila sa mahirap na sitwasyon, but you know, kanang nakakaya nila, we survive. As you can see na there is sa anang left side gilid sa kanang baha na, pero you know, kayang-kaya ng Pilipino na harapin yung kanyang kalamidad, diba? So, kayang-kaya ng mga Pinoy yan. Also, kay yun nga, ability to survive is kaya nga kitang mga Pilipino ay sinahalin tulad tayo sa bamboo, ayun, kawayan gani. So, resilient siya, kaya napakaraming bagyo mang dumaan, kanang matumba man to, yuyukuman yung kawayan na yun, is kanang unti-unti pa rin siyang babangon, 'di ba? Ganyan tayong mga Pilipino, unti-unti pa rin tatayo, 'di ba? Babangon sa sarili niyang mga paa, kahit na bumagsak man tayo, nakagawa tayo ng paraan para bumangon at lumaban sa buhay. So we have the ability to surpass all sad experience, and we have the ability to recover easily from difficult times because we are survivor ng mga Filipinos. So Filipinos can do anything, can survive anything because we are Filipinos. Kahit na anong bagyo, kahit na anong baha pa yan, Filipinos are survive. Like sa kanang COVID-19, 'di ba? Dumating yung COVID-19 dito sa Philippines, but you know, maraming mga Filipinos na were survive because it is in their character to giving up. It is not welcome sa mga Filipinos na susuko na lang, 'di ba? So, ganyan, tatak Filipino din yan, ganyang character. So, that will be all my report. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Maria Teresa Deriscado, and I am the second reporter, and I will be tackled about the weaknesses of the Filipino characteristic. First is extreme family-centeredness. Excessive concern for family means using one's office and power to promote family interests, and thus factionalism, patronage, political dynasties, and protection of erring family members. It results in lack of concern for the common good and act as a block to national consciousness. Family orientation is a strength, but if we say extreme, it's over. So, di ba kanang masobraan og paghigugma, over to love your family. So, it becomes a weakness. It becomes a weakness. It become bad because the excessive centeredness will make us loyal to our immediate family and relative. But we tend to neglect to be part of to our family. So, then atong giunahon na is atong family. So we didn't think the others feeling. We do everything for our family to succeed. So if we are in the position or we have a power to rise or iangat atong siblings, or shall we say we want them to promote, we do the possible way to promote them, di ba? For example, if she or he has a negative nga nabuhat sa company, then others kay nakakita og nakabalo, even ikaw ray makasakop. So as a relative or siblings, you will do everything to hide the negative side aron he or she will promote. So these weaknesses or behavior can lead factionalism, patronage, political dynastics, and protection of erring family members. Another example, if if the government given and like ayuda, di ba? Kanang ang government mga tagog ayuda sa ato like yun na. So if natay power nga nagatrabaho ta sa government, so kita, so unahon jud nato ang atong family, atong relatives nga sila dapat unang mahatagan ng ayuda, sila dapat unang malista, sila dapat ang first prioritize ana. Like, we didn't think the others feeling ganing. The second is extreme personalism. From the word personalism, always trying to give a personal interpretation to action. Like from the word personalism. So kita, di ba, atong we only think our personal. So, like trying to give personal interpretation to action, like mag-thank you ka, pero na siya compliments or criticism, gani compliment, like nana. So takes things personally, cannot separate objective tasks from emotional involvement. So concusedness is the example. So you will confuse about the task nga gihatag sa imong boss, na confuse ka if okay na ba or sakto na ba. You will be positively judge that person, even you know the attitude of that person. So we tend to be subjective and we don't want to be objective. So we always involve our emotions in everything that we do. That's why it's a bit difficult for us if someone give a comment of your performance. So they think negatively. Because of this, the Filipino is uncomfortable with bureaucracy, with rules and regulation, and with standard procedures. So the Filipino will not follow the laws because they think that others people are not following the rules. Why should I follow the policy nga ang naghatag ana taw raman nga nasuya nako? So nana bitaw. So we're not comfortable with standard possession. So and also he uses personal contacts and give preference to family and friends in hiring, services, and even voting. It leads to the graft and corruption evident in Philippine society. And the third is lack of discipline. A casual attitudes toward time and space manifested in lack of precision and compulsiveness in poor time management and procrastination. So Filipinos are fond of procrastination, just like the teacher give an activity, then the deadline is next day in the evening. So kita as a Filipino, ay unya na ako buhaton, ugma mabitaw deadline, then the poor time management, it's difficult for me to manage the time, especially you are a working student, just like me, an online seller and sideline to earn money. So my time is so conflict na bitaw. Like procrastination sad kay kana fun kay na sa atong mga Pilipino, di ba? Ingon ana man jud ta kay awa og naay mga deadline ipahatag sa tuwa, dili pa nato buhaton kay minimuna layo pang deadline, unya lang na oy ganahan tag rush bitaw, ganahan tag magdali-dali, like ganahan tag kanang tawagan na ganahan tag rush time, like makapasra bitaw ko as long as ingon ana. Aversion to following procedures strictly results in lack of standardization and equality control. So if you don't have a discipline to yourself, for example, you have a project or a task from your amo and you will not do the effort or ginadali na nimo, so you always say bahala na as long as human na. So magka-problema ka sa imo grade or sa trabaho, there are tendency nga matanggal ka kay dili kanang perfect imong work, dili effortness, kanang wa bitaw kay disiplina sa imong self. Then if nagka-problema ka, so you need to find palusot or alibay nga na ingon ato nga napalpak daghan kag reason until makalma na or mawala ang sapot. Impatient results in shortcuts or palusot or ningas kugon. Passivity and lack of initiative. Waiting to be told what to do, reliance on others like leader and government, complacence, lack of sense of urgency. So Filipino have a need for a strong authority figure and feel safer and more secure in the presence of such an authority. One is generally submissive to those in authority and is not likely to raise issues or to question decision. So Filipino tends to be complacent and there rarely is a sense of urgency about any problem. So for example, as a Filipino, diba? As a Filipino, so ako, even though kanang I know how to do the task, but di jud ako buhaton it because nagpaabot ko sa mandar sa akong amo, nagpaabot ko sa mandar nga kanang kuan, buhatan na din ha, you can do it kay bawan ka ana. So dili jud ko like yun ana, like gusto ko suguon ko, magpaabot ko nga suguon ko, di ba? Mao man ang mga sakit sa Pilipino, even though nga kanang wala siya gibuhat, nagurong siya, hugaw ang sala, like nana for example, hugaw ang sala, then ako nga wala ko gibuhat, so galingkod-lingkod lang ko, so nagpaabot ko nga suguon ko ni mama, I'm waiting for kanang kuan bitaw kanang nay musugo nimo nga, oy buhatan na kuan, buhatan na din ha aron There is a high tolerance of inefficiency, poor service, and even violation of one's right. Too patient and matiisin, to easily resign to his fate, the Filipino is easily oppressed and exploited. For example, naay police, so there is a police nga kanang nagkuan bitaw sa imuha kanang gi-tolerate bitaw ka like kanang sugo ra kaniya like sugon kaniya nga oy palit ana kanang kuan niya wala kay kanang compliment bitaw, wala kay you don't have wala kay reklamo sa ilahang mga sugo like yun ana. So ikaw kay tuman lang sad ka, so i-tolerate sad na ang imuhang pagkabuutan, so sigihan kanila og sugo, sigihan kanila og sugo kay dili man ka mo reklamo. So that's all everyone, so I give the floor to Hanalita Buada to continue the weaknesses of Filipino characteristic.
Thank you, Ms. Arias-Gado. Good day, ma'am. Good day, classmates. I am Hanalita Buada, and this is the continuation of the weaknesses of the Filipino character. Colonial mentality, lack of patriotism or of an active awareness, appreciation and love of the Philippines, and an actual preference for the things foreign. So, it is the perception of ethnic and cultural inferiority and a form of internalized racial oppression that conditions colonized people to believe that their cultural identity is inferior to the Western culture or whiteness. So, some common effects of colonial mentality includes loss of culture or language, change perceptions of beauty to fit a Eurocentric standard, and preference for values that align with the colonizer's country's culture. So, my example for this is mas more nga ma-adapt pa nato ang culture, or we can say things from foreign and kaysa sa atong country. Like majority man jud sa mga other Filipinos, mas ma-appreciate pa nato ang products nila sa lain country kaysa sa atong mga native products here in the Philippines. Kanya-kanya syndrome talangka mentality, done by chismis, intriga, unconstructive criticism. It is an evident in the personal ambition that is completely insensitive to the common good. Example, the lack of a sense of service among people in the government bureaucracy. This results in the dampening of cooperative and community spirit, and in the trampling upon others' rights. Filipinos have a selfish, serving attitude that generates a feeling of envy and competitiveness towards others, particularly one's peers, who seem to have gained some status or prestige. And also, talangka mentality means literally thinking like a small crab, from the behavior of talangka to pull down in order to climb up. So, other examples for this, Filipinos mangita jud og pamaagi para malabuan nila ang ilang gikasuyaan or to pull others down. Nasa ni siya sa politics, it happens sa mga politicians nga willing to make plans or ways para lang mapildi nila ang ilang kasuyaan or madaot nila ilang kasuyaan. Lack of self-analysis and reflection. The tendency to be superficial and somewhat flighty. In the days of serious personal and social problems, there is a lack of analysis or reflection, and instead, satisfaction with superficial explanations and solutions. So there is a tendency in the Filipino to be superficial and even somewhat flighty. In the face of serious problems, both personal and social, there is lack of self-analysis or reflection. We joke about the most serious matters, and this prevents looking deeply into the problem. There is no felt need to validate our hypothesis or explanation of things. Example, bisan ay grabe na problema, we still tend to joke, and that is the reason why it's hard to find a better solution. Emphasis on forma rather than substance. This lack of analysis and emphasis on form is reinforced by an educational system that is more from than substance. To be satisfied with rhetoric and to substitute for reality, as long as the proper documents and reports exist, Filipinos are deluded into believing that what ought to be actually exists. Example, looking at the outer point of someone or something rather than looking at the inner point of someone. These weaknesses are rooted in many factors. A. Home. We acquire weaknesses happens first from our home. We adopt the negative traits and behavior from our peers. B. Social and economic environment. Those weaknesses we acquire can be a structure with a great gaps such as community interaction and social systems. C. Culture and language. They may find hard on exploring experience, cultures, they maybe don't appreciate our own language. D. History. Common trait throughout our country's history, it's that we often are disunited on our goals, and most of us tend to look for the easiest way to do things. E. Religion. Faith and religion becomes a weakness when hypocrisy of it is a practice as well. F. Education system. More of other Filipinos didn't have a lot of support with the foundation in education. They think of education maybe just a burden. G. Mass media. Mass media as a whole is vulnerable to the propaganda, and it lies totalitarian regimes have used mass media for nearly a century to control what people may believe that cause negativeness. Last one, H, leadership and role models. Others can probably take as much responsibility as a leader, and as role models, learn by trial and error. Thank you so much. And now, I will give the floor to Miss Jamea Bachansala.
Good day, everyone. My name is Jamea Bachansela, and I will be discussing why many of our Filipino people's strengths are also a source and to weaknesses, as well as what the Department of Education has done to address the strength and weaknesses of Filipino characters. So, family orientation is an example of our strength, but why it is also a source of our weaknesses. So, because family orientation becomes in group orientation that prevents us from reaching out beyond the family to the larger community and our nation. It is true that a strong emphasis on family orientation can sometimes lead to an inward focus and a tendency to prioritize the needs of the family over those of the wider community or nation. So this can manifest in several ways, including insularity. Insularity, strong family ties can sometimes create a sense of insularity or exclusivity where families prioritize their own interests over those of the wider community. This can lead to a lack of engagement with the broader society, which can hinder social and economic progress. Next is nepotism. Family-oriented cultures can sometimes lead to a culture of nepotism, where family members are given preferential treatment in business or political affairs, even if they may not be the most qualified or competent candidates. So this can limit opportunities for those outside of the family, leading to a lack of meritocracy and fair competition. Lack of civic engagement. Family-oriented cultures can sometimes lead to a lack of civic engagement, as families may prioritize their own needs and interests over those of the wider community. So this can lead to a lack of participation in civic activities such as voting, volunteering, or activism, which can limit the ability to the community or address the collective problems. It is important to recognize the potential limitations of a strong emphasis on the family orientation and to work towards finding a balance between individual and collective interest. By doing so, we can create a culture that values both the well-being of the family and the well-being of the society. Next is personalism. Personalism is a philosophical and social movement that emphasizes the value and dignity of the human person. It is based on the belief that every individual has inherent worth and is entitled to respect and consideration regardless of their social status, race, or religion, or other characteristics. So, that's why it is considered as our strength, but why it is also a source of because we are warm and caring, but this lead us to lack of objectivity. When we say that someone is caring, we mean that they have a strong sense of empathy and compassion for others, and they are concerned about their well-being. However, this caring nature can sometimes lead to a lack of objectivity, which means that they may not be able to remain unbiased and impartial in their judgments and decisions. So, for example, if we are very close to someone and care deeply about them, we be more likely to overlook their flaws or mistakes and give them the benefit of the doubt, even when they may not be deserve it. This lack of objectivity can sometimes prevent us from seeing the situation clearly and making their fair and rational decisions. So in summary, being caring and compassionate is a positive trait, but it is important to also cultivate objectivity and the ability to make fair and rational judgment, even when our emotions are involved. We are concerned with the people we know but unfair to people we don't know. We mean that we need to show more empathy and favoritism towards those who are close to us, such as family and friends, but we may not extend the same level of concern and fairness to people who are unfamiliar to us. So this can be due to various factors such as biases or a lack of information about people outside of our social circles. So for example, if we hear about a problem that a friend or a family member is facing, we may feel a strong urge to help them and be willing to go out of our way to support them. However, if we hear about a similar problem that a stranger is facing, we may not feel the same level of concern or we may not be as motivated to help. This tendency to be unfair to people we don't know can lead to a lack of empathy and a failure to recognize the needs and struggles of others who are different from us. It is important to be aware of these biases and make an effort to treat all people with empathy and fairness, regardless of their whether we know them or not. So next is flexibility. It is our strength because it may involve being open to new experiences, trying new things, and being willing to take rest. Being flexible can help us navigate the challenges and uncertainties of life more effectively and can help us grow and develop as individuals. But why it is also our source of weaknesses. We compromise precision and discipline. When we say we compromise precision and discipline, it means that we are not giving enough attention to detail and are not strictly following rules or guidelines. This may be due to factors such as time constraint, lack of resources, or a focus on other priorities. So, for example, if a company is under pressure to meet a tight deadline, they may compromise precisions by rushing through their work and not checking for errors or inconsistencies. Or if an individual is trying to save time or effort, they may compromise discipline by not following established procedures or guidelines, which can lead to optimal outcomes. So that's why it is a source of weaknesses also. While compromise can be a useful tool in certain situations, compromising precision and discipline can lead to negative consequences in the long run. Therefore, it is important to prioritize accuracy and attention to detail, as well as following established guidelines and procedures. So this can help ensure that work is completed to a high standard and that outcomes are consistent and reliable. So next is joyful and sense of humor. So it is obviously our Filipino strength, right? But why it is also our source of weaknesses. Okay, we can't take things with humor at all times. For serious problems, need serious analysis. While having a sense of humor can be beneficial in many situations, there are times when serious can be beneficial in many situations. There are times when serious problems requires a more sober and analytical approach. It is important to be able to recognize when a situation calls for a serious and thoughtful response and to avoid using humor as a way to deflect or minimize the significance of the issue at hand. For example, if a loved one is dealing with a serious illness or a family member is experiencing financial hardship, it may not be appropriate or helpful to make jokes or use humor to downplay the severity of the situation. Instead, it may be more helpful to offer support, empathy, and a practical assistance. In short, while a sense of humor can be a valuable asset in many situations, It is important to be able to discern when a more serious and thoughtful approach is needed. Being able to balance humor and seriousness appropriately can help us navigate life's challenges with greater wisdom and effectiveness. Next is faith in God. It is our strength, right? But why it is also our source of weaknesses? Because faith in God is our strength, but this makes us dependent on forces outside us. Do nothing that makes us submissive to God's will. One way that faith can turn into weaknesses is by making people submissive to the will of God. Rather than encouraging them to take action and responsibility for their own lives, this can lead to a sense of powerlessness and unwillingness to take rest or make changes in their lives. Additionally, some people may use their faith as a way to avoid dealing with difficult emotions or situations. Instead of facing their problems head on, they may pray for a miracle or rely solely on their faith to solve their problems. So this can be particularly problematic when dealing with issues that require professional help or medical treatment. Another potential weaknesses of faith is the rest of becoming close-minded and intolerant of other beliefs and lifestyle. While faith can provide a strong sense of identity and community, it can also create an us versus them mentality that can lead to discrimination, prejudice, and even violences. So, faith in God can be a powerful source of strength, but it is important to maintain a balanced perspective and not become overly dependent on external forces. It is also important to remember that faith should not never be used as a substitute for taking responsibility for one's own life, seeking professional help when needed, or respecting the beliefs and lifestyle of others. Next is pakikipagkapwa-tao. Involves treating others with respect, kindness, and empathy, regardless of their social status, race, or religion, so that it is our strength. It is about recognizing the interconnectedness of all people and understanding that one's own well-being is interconnected with the well-being of others. What makes it out of source of weaknesses? Because we can easily empathize, but we can at the same time be invoiced in others. It is possible for individuals to both feel empathy and envy towards others, as they are two separate emotional responses that can coexist in the same person. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. When we feel empathy, we are able to put ourselves in someone else's shoes and imagine what they are going through, which can lead to feelings of compassion and a desire to help. Envy, on the other hand, is a feeling of discontent or resentment towards someone else's professions, qualities, or achievements. Envy can arise when we perceive that others have something that we want or we feel that we deserve. So, while empathy and envy may seem contradictory, they can both be present in our emotional landscape at the same time. For example, we may feel empathy towards a friend who has achieved a significant accomplishment, such as getting a promotion at work, while also feeling envious for their success and wishing that we had achieved something similar. So it is important to recognize these emotions when they arise and try to understand the underlying causes of our feelings by acknowledging our envy and working to address the root causes of our discontent. We can't prevent it from negatively impacting our relationships with others. Next is hardworking. It is also obviously our strength as a Filipino for the reason of we Filipino have an act of putting in a significant amount of effort, time, and dedication towards our task or goal. But why it is also our source of weaknesses? So we Filipino people, known as hardworking, yet can be lazy and passive at work because sometimes there are several reasons why. First is burnout. If you have been working long hours or under a lot of stress, it is possible that you are experiencing burnout. This can lead to a lack of motivation and energy, making it difficult to be productive. And second, lack of interest. It's hard to be motivated and engaged in your work if you don't find it interesting or fulfilling. If this is the case, it may be time to consider a career change or finding ways to make your current job more engaging. And the third is distraction. It is easy to get distracted at work, especially if you work in a busy environment or have a lot of emails and notifications to deal with. Try to minimize distractions by setting aside specific times for checking emails and social media and using noise cancelling headphones if necessary. Fourth, procrastination. Sometimes we procrastinate because we feel overwhelmed by a task or project. Break down your work into smaller, manageable tasks and set achievable goals for yourself. And lastly, lack of accountability. So if you don't feel accountable to anyone for your work, it can be easy to slip into a lazy or a passive mindset. Consider setting up regular check-ins with your manager or a colleague to help keep you accountable and on track. So it is important to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of any culture and to work towards leveraging those strengths while addressing the weaknesses. So by doing this and competencies enable them to realize their full potential and contribute meaningfully to building the nation. So why the Department of Education in the Philippines created the vision? The Department of Education, DepEd in the Philippines was created its vision to provide a clear and compelling direction for the department initiatives and programs. So the visions outline DepEd's long-term aspirations and defines its ultimate goal for the country's education system. So the current vision of DepEd as stated in its basic education sector reform agenda BESRA is by 2030, DepEd is globally recognized for good governance and for developing functionally literate and high-skilled Filipinos. So these visions reflects the department's commitment to providing high-quality education that equips students with the knowledge, skills, and values they need to become productive and responsible citizens who can contribute to national development. So overall, the vision of DepEd serves as a high guiding principle for the department policies, programs, and initiatives, ensuring that all its efforts are geared towards achieving a common goal. They created also the core values. Core values consist of makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan, at makabansa. So the core values and the Department of Education, DepEd in the Philippines, serve as guiding principles that shape the agency's cultures, operations, and interactions with stakeholders. The DepEd's core values are makadiyos or God-loving. The DepEd recognized the importance of faith in shaping the Filipino character and fostering moral and spiritual development. Second is makatao or pro-people. The DepEd is committed to promoting the welfare of the Filipino people, particularly learners, and providing them with equitable and quality education. The third is makakalikasan or the environment conscious. The DepEd recognizes the importance of environmental protection and sustainable development in ensuring a better future for the next generation. Last is makabansa or nationalistic. The DepEd upholds a strong sense of nationalism and instill love for country in learners. So, these core values guide the DepEd in achieving its vision of providing every Filipino learner with access to quality, equitable, culture-based, and complete basic education. They also serve as a reminder to DepEd officially and employees to conduct themselves in accordance with the agency's and values and principles. The Philippines should prioritize and intensify values education in the curriculum to develop responsible and ethical citizens. It is necessary to teach values such as respect, honesty, and compassion, which are essential in building character and promoting positive behavior in individuals. Values education can also contribute to creating a more harmonious and inclusive society by promoting understanding and acceptance of diversity. So, incorporating values education in the curriculum can provide students with a strong foundation for their personal growth and future success. Values education, now edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, in K-12 was introduced as a separate subject in the basic education curriculum under the Values Education Framework program of Dr. Lourdes Kesombing, then Department of Education, Culture and Sport Secretary in 1988 to 1990. So the Values Education changed into Edukasyong Pagpapakatao in K-12. And this subject teaches students how to become a good citizen in our nation. Core courses such as Introduction to the Philosophy of the Human Person and Personal Development. Values Education Framework was conceptualized in 1987. So the Values Education Framework program was formed in 1987, and so that in 1988 to 1990 it was successfully completed and introduced into separated subject. And then basic education curriculum grade 1 to 6 and fourth year high school in 2002 integrated values in the major learning areas or subjects. Note, Filipino character is a socio-cultural issues that has been studied and analyzed by scholars and researchers over the years. Okay? So, before I will end the discussion about the chapter 4, which is the strength and weaknesses of the Filipino character, a socio-cultural issue, I have motivational quotes that will remind us that our good characteristic and perseverance can be our strength, and we can eliminate our weaknesses. Filipinos are a people of resilience, faith, and hope. Our strength lies not just in our ability to endure adversity, but also in our capacity to adapt, learn, and grow from it. By Anonymous. So I hope you've learned about our topic, and thank you for watching.